Happy day one of Summerween. I am at a moment right now where I'm gonna lose my freaking mind. Like, I feel like I'm gonna go crazy any moment. Nothing is going right today. It's day one of Summerween and I'm already losing my shit. This is not a good sign. Not a good sign. My intent is to tell you about Summerween right now and tell you about my TBR and what I'm reading. And if I can't get things to go my way, I may not make it, guys. You may see this footage pop up in like a news story somewhere. It said like, she tried, she didn't make it. Let's talk about Summerween. It's day one. July 15th through July 21st. It's a week-long readathon where we pretend it's Halloween in the middle of the summer and we read spooky stuff. This is hosted by Gabby at Gabby Reads and Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte. There are 5 different reading prompts. I will loosely follow them and try to accomplish all of these reading prompts throughout the week. I will also be linking Gabby and Olivia's channels down below where they talk about Halloween. And so if you, for some reason, do not know who they are, check down below and you will find them. Okay, let's talk about the prompts for Summerween. The first prompt is read a book in the dark. For this one, I'm going to be reading Any Man by Amber Tamblin. I just realized this is also the actor. She is in The Ring. She is in Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. She is in a bunch of other stuff. And I think she writes in prose. I don't know if this one's in prose or not, but this is about a female predator and the men who she victimizes and their lives and how they're affected. I think it's kind of going to turn the tables on what it's like for men to maybe feel like a victim and feel vulnerable from time to time. So I'm really interested in this. I just randomly found it on SCRIBD, and so I have the audio. I will be listening to this. I'm probably going to take a bath at some point. I won't listen to the whole thing in the dark, but I'll get you a little bit in the dark of this. The next prompt is a slasher. For this one, I'm going to be reading Brother by Anya Albarn. This is my first Anya Albarn. I finally am going to read this book. It's about a family of cannibals. One of the brothers is not entirely on board with this, and I think it actually ends up being quite heartfelt if what I've been hearing is correct. So we'll see about that. There's another prompt that is read a book with Halloween colors. This is highly subjective. Whatever you think Halloween colors are on the cover. Denver's got his vest on. We're about to go get his nails clipped and he hates having his vest on, so he's just literally sitting behind me crying. You're gonna be okay, buddy. We gotta leave in just a minute. Oh geez. Okay. Anyway, Halloween colors on the cover. I was gonna read Stolen Tongues for this. I may still, but right now I'm also reading Stillhouse Lake and I'm halfway through it and I want to finish it. It's also kind of Halloween colors, so I may count that as well. So far, I don't know how I feel about this book. It's generally what it's about is this woman and her 2 kids. Denver! I'm sorry, buddy. Give me a moment. There's this woman and her 2 kids, and she finds out that her husband is a serial killer. So he goes off to jail. They think she is an accomplice, but she gets acquitted in court. But there's all of these trolls online that are like doxing her, and she has to keep changing her name, turn into this like badass mom to protect her kids. She moves to Stillhouse Lake, and the murders start happening again. So what is going on? Denver, stop crying, dude. I know you don't like having your vest on. We're gonna leave in just a minute. You gotta keep it on, okay? Can't deal with him today. Can't deal with the child today. I'm just like, ugh. Anyway, so she moves to Stillhouse Lake. Murders happen again. What's happening? Her husband's in jail. They think it's her. She has people following her. I don't like that she keeps changing her name on all of this. Like, it seems like the premise is a little bit far-fetched that these people are like threatening her life and the life of her children. Like, if she's the wife of a serial killer, fine. Like, I'm not gonna try to kill her. I know there are crazy people out there and you're probably gonna be embarrassed and have your like name slandered online, but are they really trying to kill you? Like, I don't understand that. I kind of feel like I know where this is going, but I'm not sure. If it's going where I think it's going, then I'm probably not going to love it as much. But I've heard people say this has a huge twist at the end, so I'm like, well, what is the twist? What could it possibly be? We have very few characters here who could be the killer of the people that are currently dying at Stillhouse Lake. I don't know. I feel like I have it figured out. Maybe I don't. We'll see. I will let you know when I finish it. And then the other prompt is bake a Halloween treat. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I'm going to try to do something. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll bake some cookies or maybe I'll bake a pizza. I also neglected to mention the last prompt, which is to read a book with the word haunt in the title. I don't have a single book on my physical bookshelves or on my Goodreads TBR with that word in the title. So in place of that, I'm going to use the word ghost, and I'm going to read A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. Anyway, I gotta go. I gotta take him to get his nails clipped. I gotta deal with the kid. She's hungry. It's lunchtime. We gotta do things around the house, and It's so hot in Texas right now too. I don't want to go outside. Okay, start the car. That's my next move. Start the car, cool it down. I'll be back. Come on. So this one climbing on me. This one got his nails clipped. You want to show him your nails, buddy? Want to show him your nails? Look. Show him your nails. Oh yeah. I wish I had recorded the sounds coming from this dog in the waiting room when he was getting his nails clipped. Bloody murder. Bloody murder. He was screaming like they were cutting open his abdomen like it was a horror movie. And all the other dogs were freaking out too. But did he live? Yes. All right, happy day 2 of Summerween. Hadley and I are having a girls' day, and we are just hanging out. She and I made some jelly soap last night, so she was really excited to shower today and try it out, but I guess it didn't work. I don't know. So for the rest, it did work?
I did have the soap in water for a long time.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna cook dinner later. I'm trying to figure out what I can cook that both of us will like because someone's picky. So yeah, just reading, doing things around the house, things like that. We might go to the store and I might pick up something to bake for the baking prompt. We'll see. Books. I finished Stillhouse Lake last night. It was fine. I liked the writing. It is the first book in a series and I don't read too many series anymore, but the series that I have read that are like thriller and horror are similar to like the Grant County series by Karen Slaughter, and those always have like each book feels like its own thing. This one was different. It ended on a cliffhanger, so I'm kind of disappointed in that. And when I saw the reviews that said, oh my god, the end, I assumed there was going to be this massive twist in there. There wasn't. Maybe they were referring to the cliffhanger, or maybe I've just read too many thrillers and that twist didn't get me like it did for some other people. I don't know. Overall, the audiobook narrator was great. I liked the premise of the book. I may continue on with the series. I thought it was 3-star. I'd still recommend it. I think there's a perfect person for it. I just don't think that person was necessarily me. I want to talk about this book, which I started this morning. Oh my god. How
the turntables.
Wow, this book is incredible so far. I'm like halfway through it and it's a really, really fast read. Her writing, Amber Tamblin, is gorgeous. How do I explain it? It goes back and forth. There's so many different parts of this. There's a lot of mixed media in here. There's like Twitter messages. There are transcripts from a talk show, web searches, and then there are just like inner thoughts from the victims. The inner thoughts are like so poetic. I wonder if I can find... So it opens up with this guy who's been found after he's been sexually assaulted, and the assaults are really, really horrific. They don't go, it's not on the page, but it's described on the page, you know what I mean? And so you're in this guy's head. Oh man, I wish I would have marked this. There was a description in here that I just thought was so freaking gorgeous. The way it was written about a bird. I don't know where it is. Female predator who was going around doing these disturbing, disgusting things to men. She's roofing them, and she is not part of this narrative. The narrative is the men, is the perspective of the men, all of these different men, and the thoughts they're having when they have to go have a rape kit performed, when they are shamed by other men for allowing a woman to do this to them, when they are being exploited by the media, and the thoughts that are going through their head about that, and how they are suddenly, at least one of them is suddenly this proactive, pro-rights person who is fighting for victim of sexual assault. You sympathize with these men because this shouldn't happen to anybody. So in your head, you're like, oh my god, this is terrible. The thoughts that they're having, the things that they're going through. But then there's that little voice in your head that says, told ya. That says, this is what it feels like to be vulnerable. How do you like it? It's heavy. It's heavy stuff, but it's really, really thoughtful and thought-provoking, and I'm loving this. Like, this is gonna be probably one of my favorite books of the year if this continues on the way it is. Oh, also the audiobook is incredible. There's like a full cast of narrators. I love all of the narrators. And there's this talk show host scene with these women who are talking about the men, how men would talk about women if the tables were turned, right? They're making dick jokes. It's disgusting. It's really disgusting, but it's so well done. The audio is so well done. I'm obsessed with this right now. So this book came out like years ago. How have I not heard of this? I'm really excited for this. So I'm gonna get back to reading, get her something to drink, and I'll check back in with you guys. That's what it said.
We are the ships. Yes,
What?
we are ships.
Oh, we are ships. Alright, we'll see. Yum.
Yeah.
Ellie, eat your mac and cheese. Yes. 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 100% every day, all day. Yes. Oh my God. 5 stars. 5 stars. So freaking good. So good. Amber Tamblin. Amber Tamblin. Girl. Yes. Yes. I feel like I did after I finished Night Bitch. Like, fuck yes. Fuck yes. Fuck yes. Just yes. Yep. Yep. Yes. 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 Hello. Happy day 3. Here's the deal. I'm having a day. And so what I'm doing instead is I'm watching Independence Day. I'm laying in bed. And I've just applied these press-on nails. Yeah, mental health is not amazing today, so I'm skipping. And I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, we're going on a road trip tomorrow to Austin, so that should be fun. Good morning, it's day 4. I had a bit of a self-care day yesterday. I was in my feelings. So I did my roots, got my roots done, and I put on these press-on nails, and these have gotten a lot better since I was a kid. Honestly, I've paid a lot more for way worse manicures. So I'm happy with that. Even though I did kind of check out, I did manage to read about half of Brother by Anya Albarn. I mean, I'm liking it so far, but it's not that brutal. Like, there's a lot of talking around what's happening. We're following this family of cannibals, and they say they're cannibals, but you never talk about it. You don't actually get any kind of gritty details. You're just assuming that the steaks that they're having for dinner are human because you know they kidnap and kill these women. And we're following Michael. He's our protagonist, and he's the youngest brother. He's not the smartest kid. He's not really one of the family, but he also is, and he's always trying to make them proud of him and kind of trying to fit in. So you do feel for him, and from what I've been told, this has like a found family trope. He does meet this girl in a record store, and I'm really afraid for her. I'm afraid for her right now because he has a crush on her. He's very influenced by his older brother Reb, short for Rebel, short for Ray. Today, we are driving to Austin. Jordan has to be there for work. It's about a 3.5-hour drive for us. We're going to be there for the next 5 days. And I have, about 5 hours in order to get the house picked up, do laundry, pack for me and Hadley. That's basically it. But there's a lot to do within just that parameter. We've got a friend coming over to watch Denver while we're gone, so he's not going to be coming with us. That's the plan for today. Finishing up packing, just waiting for Jordan to get back. I just finished Brother. It was good. It was good. I'm giving it 4 stars. It was probably going to be about a 3.5, but that ending, That ending secured the 4-star. It's weird because it's a disturbing book. It's disturbing, but it's not gritty details. For most of the book, it's not gritty details. It's more about the morality of what's happening and how that can kind of pierce your soul. And poor Michael, who just gets led astray by this ridiculous family. And it is set, I don't think it ever mentioned what year this was set in, but it is historical. From what I gather when they're talking about the movie releases, I believe this is set around 1979, 1980. Yeah, the ending is pretty devastating. It kind of ramps up to this stuff that's happening. So the whole first half of the book, there's really not much happening. There's just kind of this character building, getting to know the family, getting to know the relationship dynamic between Michael and his brother Reb. And I'm just noticing that the TV is on and it's probably annoying you, so I'm sorry. I think that's about it. I did have a good time with this. Like we haven't even left yet and I finished it. It really flew by. I started it last night. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. I feel like I didn't even have to try to read it. It just kind of happened. It's not one of those that you have to really think super hard about. It just is storytelling. I didn't love the narrator, but he grew on me. I prefer a female narrator anyway, but our protagonist is male, so it makes sense. But he talked really slowly, so I think that's why it went by so fast, because I had it at either 1.8 or 2 times speed the whole time, and it still didn't seem that fast. So yeah, 4 stars. I'm going to start A Head Full of Ghosts next. I'm going to miss my Danny boy. Denver, I'm going to miss you so much, buddy. I love you. I love you. Oh, he's already sad because the suitcases are out. He knows what's happening. He's not stupid. Oh, he's being emo. What's your dance moves? Family in Germany during World War II. Okay. It's this tragic story about, unfortunately, like how the family disperses, but I'm not quite done. But there's a box of letters that the mom writes a letter to one of the daughters every night until her death, and I think the end is how these letters get to her in America.
If you had to rate it out of 5 stars right now, what do you give it?
3.5.
All right. Thank you. So show us what you're reading there. Is this your first venture into Sarah J. Maas?
It is actually. My sister's been telling her I should read her books forever.
Yeah, and what do you think so far?
Good. We're about 100 pages in, but going well.
If you had to give it out of 5 stars so far where you're at, what would you give it?
4.
All right. I read the whole series.
Okay.
And I really liked it. The second one takes a big turn.
Yeah.
So if you get through that one and you like it, you're going to get hooked.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, I'm liking it so far, so.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course.
I appreciate you. What do you have there?
Book I got from a little free library.
Awesome. How far are you into it?
About 100 pages.
And if you had to give it out of 5 stars so far where you're at, what would you give it?
About a 7.
7 out of 5?
Oh, 10. Maybe 3. 3
3?
out of 5, yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you so much.
I have now started 2 more books and not finished anything. And I've been incredibly distracted because we're in Austin. So I wanted a physical book for the car, so I picked up Survivor. Why did I think I could get this done? I am so slow when I read physically. Not to mention, I'm with her all day at the pool trying to read this, and I have to look up every 2 seconds because I'm afraid someone's going to snatch her up. So I'm on page like 70. I thought I was farther than that. I thought I was on like 100. But so far I'm really loving this. It's a survivor story, if you couldn't gather that from the title. There is a prologue, which I don't know how is connected to the rest of the book yet, but it's got to be connected somehow, right? But the prologue is just like a few pages long. It's set in 1955, I think. And the rest of the book is in 1998, I believe. It starts off just really brutal. Really, really brutal. And then it just stops and there's nothing so far connected to that. And then we're following Lisa and her husband, Brad? Is it Brad? Something like that. So they're going on a romantic vacation, romantic weekend away, and they start getting like tailgated by this dude in this van or truck or something. This guy won't let up. He's being real weird and sketch. They are going to call the cops, but then a cop pulls them over, and come to find out this guy that was tailgating them said that they were driving recklessly and he wants to do a citizen's arrest, and so they put Brad in jail. Lisa is then kidnapped. She's kidnapped to be part of a snuff film. So that's the general premise. And so for this rest of the book, she's trying to get free. She's trying to get out. Brad's in jail. No one knows where she is. So it hasn't gotten super brutal yet, but it's definitely sketch for sure. When I wasn't feeling like physically reading, picked up Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay, because I was like, that was the one I was going to read, which I didn't even mention to you before. I totally skipped over that on my intro. And I've now listened to 25% of that one. And I don't think I have one more day. I don't think I'm going to finish either of these in time. So now I'm like, what did I do? Why didn't I just commit to one and get it done? I could have had the audiobook done, but I really wanted to read Survivor. And that doesn't even fulfill a prompt. So anyway, Head Full of Ghosts I actually am liking more than I thought I would. It's a possession story, but it's told from the younger sister's point of view. And I'm trying to figure out, I think she's like being interviewed for a TV show or something, but it's giving me like podcast vibes, which I really like that. But I got a big day tomorrow. I'm going to see one of my oldest friends and taking Hadley to meet her kids, and we're just going to hang out by the pool again, but we're probably going to be catching up all day. Tomorrow's the last day of SUMMERWEEN, so I really don't feel like I'm going to be able to finish either one of these, so you might have to hang out for my monthly wrap-up. If I haven't finished them by the end of the month, oh my god.
I don't get my hesitation with that book. I don't know.
I tend to like more psychological or like social horror. This is on the extreme side for me, for sure.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, welcome to day 9 of SUMMERWEEN. I am not comfortable just ending this vlog on a cliffhanger, and I have 2 books that I'm currently reading, and I want to finish at least one of them for you guys. I'm trying to finish Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. I have it on audio, so it's going quicker. I'm also reading Survivor, as you know, and I feel like that one's going to take me so long because I have to read it physically. So we're going to focus on A Head Full of Ghosts right now. Ultimately, I am enjoying this book, but I feel like it's actually really confusing listening to the audio. The narrator is really great, don't get me wrong. Her name is Joy Osmanski, and I think the way she tells the story is excellent. However, there are several different characters that she's playing, and all of the voices sound really similar, so that makes it tricky, as well as there is a part of the narrative that is a spoiler, so I'm not going to mention it, but makes having the same voice kind of confusing. Here's what I'm gathering from this story. I'm almost done with it. I'm like probably 80% into this right now. So we have this family. You have mom, dad, and then 2 girls, 8-year-old Mary and 14-year-old Marjorie. Marjorie is possessed by a demon, or is she? We don't know. But this all happened 15 years ago, and at the time, the parents decided, I guess in order to make money, to allow this group of filmmakers into their home. Okay, so this is where I'm confused, because they're filming it like it's a reality show. They have confessionals, all of those things, but also there are actors that are performing reenactments of what has happened with Marjorie. So is it a reality show or is it not? Or what's going on there? Mom is atheist, dad is a believer, and so dad thinks she's possessed, mom thinks she's mentally ill. We don't know. I really love how Paul Tremblay integrates pop culture and a lot of fictional horror references, movies, books, etc. I think this does spoil Yellow Wallpaper. Chapter, which is a kind of classic feminist horror novella, which I have not read yet. But she pretty much told us the whole story, so I'm still gonna read it. It's still on my DVR, but just FYI, heads up for that. We have this 15 years in the past. Then we also have Mary, 15 years in the future, in the present, and she is telling her story to Rachel, who I think is writing a book, or Mary's writing a book. One of them is writing a book, but she's telling her story from her perspective to Rachel. Also, we have Karen, who has a blog, and it says it's a blog, but as I'm listening to the audio, it really sounds like a podcast, which I like. That is my favorite element of this book so far, is this kind of blog element. I like the attitude of the writing style or the speaker. It comes across like a podcast to me. I really like it. And so we're getting all of these different kind of dissections of what actually happened 15 years ago. We're getting Mary's perspective. In the past, when Mary's 8 years old, she's very innocent. Is this a narrative thing that is shifting our opinion or not? There's also a character in there named Stephen Graham Jones. Paul Tremblay is such a funny writer. I just read The Pallbearers Club and really liked it by him, and I'm getting a lot of the same kind of inferences. I feel like these two books are separate from The Cabin at the End of the World in the sense that it's a little bit more meta. It kind of brings in these pop culture references. He's smart. He writes very smartly, and I like this. That's generally my impressions of the book so far. I'm almost done with it. It's probably a 4-star right now. I don't expect that to change by the time I finish this. I do think this is one that is going to be better if you have the book to reference physically. I think it's going to be less confusing in that way. And this is one that I would definitely read again with a physical book so that I would kind of understand it better. And I felt that way about Pallbearers Club too. We are going to head out and go to a brewery, get some drinks, get some lunch. Then I will check back in with you guys, hopefully tonight, when I finish this book. All right, happy day 10 of Summerween. And the final day of Summerween for me, because I have finished Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. I was right. It's a 4-star, solid 4-star. I gotta say, I love how Paul Tremblay ends his books. I love that he makes you think. I love that he makes you wonder. He doesn't tie anything up nicely in a little bow for you. He kind of just leaves it to your imagination. It can be debated what you think actually happened. And I like that. There's something even more scary about that. There's something more eerie about that. Sorry, my voice is like I don't think I've spoken aloud yet today. It's very haunting, and I really enjoyed it. So let's go over what I read. First, I finished Stillhouse Lake, which is fine. I gave it 3 stars. I liked it. I don't think it was necessarily for me. I might continue on in the series. I don't know. I don't like that it was left on a cliffhanger. I wish it had wrapped it up fully and then continued on in the series. Like, I have no problem with the series as long as like they can be satisfactory, especially in thrillers. Like in fantasy, and it's like world building, so you just learn more of the world. God, my voice is weird. So that's different. And in romances, it always wraps up because they fall in love, and then the next in the series is someone else falling in love, and then someone else falling in love. So yeah, I wanted it to be more this. And the next book I read was Any Man by Amber Tamblin. I'm obsessed with this book now. I loved this book. I do want to say though, I don't think I mentioned before that the R word is in this book. I think it's twice. So if you're especially sensitive to that, then maybe pass on this one. Oh gosh, my husband's smoking a brisket right now, and I just saw all the smoke outside and thought our house was on fire, but it's not. It's okay. There's so many triggers in this book, just like triggers for sexual assault, for rape, for all kinds of sexual violence, suicide, self-harm, and the R word. Keep all that in mind. That being said, this book was so original, and I loved the writing. I loved the mixed media. I loved the social commentary. I thought it was super feminist. It made me feel powerful by reading this story, and I loved how it ended. I loved the audiobook. I loved that the author plays the villain in the audiobook, and I loved that the villain does not have like the spotlight in the story. She is not the one telling the story. We're hearing from the victims. And the fact that the tables are turned and we have a female predator and male victims, it just makes everything that we say to female victims seem so ludicrous. And it just points out our society and how we treat victims in general. I think it's brilliant. I honestly think it's brilliant. After that, I finished Brother. A little bit of a slow start on this one. It's very character heavy. I wanted it to go for it more. I wanted it to be more gory. And I think I mentioned before that the horror aspect is not this like straightforward gritty thing. It's the moral choices that are made in this. Poor Michael as we follow him. Oh man. The end though made it a solid 4-star. Really, really liked the ending. Yeah, just a good book. My first Anya Albarn, so very excited to have enjoyed it. And then Head Full of Ghosts, my third Paul Tremblay. I really feel like I'm securing Paul Tremblay as like an autobi author for me now. I respect his writing so much. I love that he adds this pop culture stuff. I love that he leaves it to the reader to decide what you think happened in this damn story. This is the one that I will definitely want to read again. I want to get a physical copy and I want to be able to read it physically, or at least like skim through it so like I can kind of organize the shelves in my mind of how I see this book. But generally, I had a good time with it. There's a lot to talk about. This would be a perfect book club book. Any of his books I feel like would be really good for book clubs because there's so much to talk about. So yeah, there's 4 books that I finished in the last 10 days. It doesn't seem that impressive, does it? But you know what? We went to Austin, I was doing mom things, and there was a lot happening. So with that being said, I'm happy with where I am. So I did not accomplish reading in the dark, but I read a book with Halloween colors. I read a slasher, kind of. I read a book with Haunt in the title, kind of. And I made a treat. So that's 4 out of 5 prompts. I'm happy with that. I never feel like I have to be dead on with the prompts. It's fun to just try. It just gives you kind of this outline to follow, and I'm happy with how this went. And that's gonna be it for me today, y'all. Don't forget that life is short, so read Riley. Cheers and goodbye!